Alright, and welcome. Alright, so I feel better today. It's awesome, but I'm going to do a few things in this session. Alright, one is going to be working this guy, nearly finishing him. I would say I'll probably start adding clothing and getting his facial details in. Looks a lot better. Haven't worked on him since yesterday, so put that right there. And I may start another piece here, maybe not yet. I'll ask for anyone that shows up here if they have any suggestions. Oops, I gotta make sure I pause that. Alright, if anyone has any suggestions, maybe female characters, maybe I'll make a full figure like I did with that other character guy right there from Dragon Ball Super. Now, I'll be doing some patch-up work on some 3D prints. Examples of how I do it and stuff like that. So, patch-up is like along the bottom of these arms right here. I have quick ways of doing it and ways that may require detailing. I'm not going to do the detailing one, just quick patch-ups. His head is separate. Now, the way I had it printed was actually I had to put the head into the print bed so that it would stick properly when it causes really all that bad of the underside issue. So, I'm going to have to patch up this part of his mouth right here. Not that much this side. Maybe a little bit under the eyes, but that's really it. Just here along the arms, under the chin, and right around the mouth area here. So I'll show you how to do that. Also, I got this Doom guy head as another example. When it's printed like this. With the bottom, that's why it's so nice and smooth right there. I'm not too worried about this. It's all rough because that's where the support was. I'm more concerned about this part right here. It's kind of all rough and everything. It happens, you know. That's why when you make a copy in this, it's kind of the prototype, and you gotta refine it. So it's not ideal to keep printing out and then fixing. But I never intended to mass produce these. And also these are quite large, and tell you the truth, it's a little more cost effective making them like this than the other way, I think. But I'll be patching up the bottom here with the same kind of technique. It's pretty much taking not a polymer, but a epoxy putty right here for really quick patch-ups. If you want to do longer patch-ups that require detailing, what you have to do is you have to use an epoxy clay, not an epoxy putty, which is it's a polymer epoxy putty, which is the stuff that sets up fast, which is sets up in a few minutes. So I don't want to use stuff that takes a while to put on. Alright, what was I going to do? I was going to do... Okay, so let me go ahead and get started. I'll keep this in the back or something, and maybe not in the back, but I'll keep it to the side here. So you can probably still see in the corner of the thing right here. Maybe I'll get the other thing, maybe the body of the Doom doll. I've been meaning to patch and ship to that YouTuber. I haven't forgotten just that, as I said before, I've been injured and haven't been feeling well. So I think I get back to normal business, but can't get back to work just yet. So I think I could do earlier broadcasts. Actually, it's earlier than yesterday, so that's a benefit already. So as I said before, it is super sculpting firm with a wire armature, as you can see here. There is floral wire. Oh, let me see if I can get this to focus a bit. This is old armature. I used it before. It's kind of like practice. But as you can see here, you can see there's wire here, and there's a smaller wire covering, which is floral wire. This is aluminum foil right here for mass, and also allows the clay to grip better to it. Floral wire does the same thing, but also aluminum foil saves me on clay, so I don't use as much. It's cheaper to use foil than it is to use a clay. All right. So man, I gotta get some. I gotta recondition this clay beforehand, I guess. Okay. Alright, so what I'll do is this. I will work on this a little bit, and then I'll move back to the 3D print where I'll show how to patch. Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing I do when I finish a sculpture here. Okay. Okay. Alright, yeah, his mustache needs to be brought back a bit. So the thing is that when I look at profile, the front and side views, I try to match it up, and then I can trim away at it. Here and here. X-Acto knives are awesome. They're essentially the slice tool, the perfect slicing tool. Where did that other piece of clay go? Oh well. And the thing is that this needs to go up a little more, so it's a nice little drawing tool. tell you the truth, that's what sculpture is usually most of the time. It is just drawing and sculpting with 2D shapes, in a sense. You are working on just getting some form. It's not exactly perfect, as you can see here. Of course, later on I'll be like smoothing it out. It's a little puffy here, and then it comes down. Right there. Right there, sort of. This comes out a little more, so I'll add a little bit here and there. Don't want to put too much force. The thing is that when you sculpt with clay, like either really soft clay or even kind of tough clay, you want to just work on a little bit, like not a little bit at a time, but just gently applying it. But I will get to the clothes, and I'll get to the... Oh, I need to switch to my other tab real quick just to make sure I don't ignore anyone. So I'll be working on this here. I'll be working on this here, be patching up a 3D print. I will also be patching a little bit of the doom head here. The bottom here, how to patch it up. Similar technique, and I may start another character maybe. It'll be a half figure instead of full figure. I might do a full figure next time around after I'm done with this character right here. So Topo right here. I'll be working on him for maybe 20 minutes, then I'll switch to the 3D prints. Let's see. So I'm just working on his mustache here real quick. I'm going to add some veins. I'll show you how to make veins. Veins are just a series of just making these little worms of clay. You put them on there. Interesting. We're just looking here. I think I should just put the clay on. I'll just subtract from the form. But it looks nice so far. Now a lot of these Dragon Ball Z characters, well, at least Topo, at least, which I believe that I'm saying his name right. Now I'm just reconditioning this clay right here real quick. I'm going to start patching and smoothing. Then I want to sell this piece just because gotta learn how to let go of my work still. Like I still do. I guess as long as I have video footage, I think that's all I need. I might have to mute real quick. But I hope everyone's doing well. Checking the side view. Might have to put more here for his face there. I guess I'll start working his face a little more. So let me go ahead and I like using the spatula tool here. Not really a spatula. It's pretty flat. I guess it could be called a flat edge. I want to make sure I get these furrowed eyebrows here. Get a little bit of shape here. Kind of cut a little bit. I might bring this camera up and actually get a little bit more focus here on the face. Move this up right here. Alright, so what I'm doing is I am, oops, look at the camera, so I'm going to kind of push down here and kind of make a plane here. Right there. I could remove his mustache. Looks kind of funny, but the whole point is that you're not going to see that. Let's see, so what I'm going to do, his eyes, I wish I should have beforehand made a little tab for me to switch so you can see the reference material, so you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to add a little bit of clay here for his nose. Tools I'd like to use for the face are, aside from this here for making planes, are rubber tip tools or color shapers. Paint shapers, color shapers. Usually used for water or acrylics or oil. Usually acrylics. This is a bigger one. Alright, I might actually have to maybe move this in a bit more and then push this in. And it's great kind of for smoothing out. It's like things you wish your fingers would be able to do. Like follow the contours of things. And I may even get around to using the rubbing alcohol today. Remember, if you have any questions about anything, I can go ahead and try answering them. I might bring his head face in a little more here. It looks a little too much on one side. It's just in. I think I'm about at the 3-hour mark with this. Just the armature was not very well made for this piece, but it's working. I'll be making a time lapse anyway of this character. I might just kind of filling out the mustache a bit here, going here, removing this here. I think I'm going to add a little more to the chin here. Sorry, it's a little bit of back and forth here. It's weird what characters look like when they don't have their beard or mustache. Actually, I don't like that tool too much. It gives away too much. So it gives away too much. I'm gonna make this chin right here, this jaw line. I'm gonna use this to kind of get this out right here. Do the same thing on the other side. And his mustache fell. I'll try to keep an eye on the time, so I can make sure I switch, making that jawline here again. Put this here. Now I'm not too worried about what his mouth looks like because his mouth is hidden behind his mustache. I'll still fill it out though. But it's important that you don't make any mustaches or facial hair a permanent part of the piece yet, unless so that it doesn't get in the way. Like what I like to do is I like to take this here, be able to press it and press down, here and here. And I might even use. I need to make sure this is similar. I need to make sure the shadows are lining up a bit more. I'll get his mustache to kind of check how it looks. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and I guess I should start adding the eyes. I want to make sure they are similar in size, so I may use a tool like this here maybe to maybe make these little divots in his face. Kind of like that here. Make it a little deep. Maybe, I think his eyes might be a little too far apart. Usually typical of proportions in general is that usually eyes are about one eye width apart depending on the character's eye. There it goes. Right there, right there. Get some ears real quick. Just as kind of like place markers. If you want to know what the guy I'm making, just go to Google and click in Toppo, Dragon Ball Super, T-O-P-P-O, and you should be able to find it quick. He's like an orange kind of character that Goku went against in the Dragon Ball Super series. I'm just kind of filling these little patches, little holes right now. You know, I might as well start blocking out the gloves. No, I shouldn't get ahead of myself yet. Leg still kind of bothers me a little bit, but should be fine. Right there, just patching up a bit to make it smooth. Now, as I'm rubbing alcohol to it, I might have to mute in a moment. I might go quiet for the next few minutes. All right, back on with the volume, but I think I might just rough out his gloves real quick, which I'll just go ahead and make an indent, looking about right here. This is something to kind of see progress, I guess. I might be jumping the gun a bit. Maybe even roughing out like a detail here. can easily kind of remove that. Some light detail being added. Just aligns the suit. Bring his gut up a little more, so I'm gonna take this X-Acto knife. I need to make more of a difference between. Oh, hold on, I need to mute real quick. Alright, back on. Just avoid that unnecessary noise. I was pointing to making the vein on top of his head. He's got like a couple of veins that kind of. He seems to be very angry all the time. So, making little coils of clay, little snakes. Here and here. Oops. Well, let me. Oh my gosh. Press down a bit on it. And a little too far forward. Maybe a little forward again. Alright, what I do is I use this ballpoint tool here. What I do is I just blend down the edges here. Here. A little bit of a squiggle here. Don't worry, it looks rough now, but it'll be a little better later. I'm gonna cut that off a little bit. Maybe press down on this a bit, and maybe use a smaller point to kind of define a bit. Let's see. Need to see a side view of them real quick. I have it saved, reference material saved. Taking a larger ballpoint here. Right there. I might have to shrink his head down a bit more. Like just trim a little bit from the jaw here. Bring the mustache up a bit more. Shrink the head down a bit on this side. Make it the ear on the other side, similar. A little more clay. Oh, hello, hey. It's elegant. Hello. Cool. All right. So I'm just going to probably take a quick break from this and move on to how to patch a 3D print to show some variety, I guess, in the broadcast, because I thought it was kind of plain, just kind of seeing just one thing being worked on. I might even work on something later. I don't know. Got armature ready. Now this, of course, you know, I'm going to be patching this up. I said before, so I'm going to use gloves, and I'll be using putty. It's a polymer epoxy putty. Best way to patch plastic stuff, or even just sculptures in general. Just putting gloves on to protect my hands. This stuff here sets up in about a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes. But it's cool to see familiar people again in the comments. Maybe we'll have what is it? Gear World, and maybe that the Russian guy that was here. But it's great to see you again now. But let me go ahead and, sorry, I've been a little bit abrupt with that greeting earlier. Take that off. It's a two-part epoxy. You got a light gray, you got a dark gray. You pinch that off in a good equal chunk. This is probably way too much for what I need, but maybe I could put on the other piece. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to patch up these arms and his chin. So I'm going to mix this up a bit. Have the door open just because it has I want to say fumes, but it does smell. I don't have a thing with water. Water is great to smooth out this material. It sets up fast, so probably gonna have to get going soon. If I heat it up too much with my hands, it sets up faster. Chemical reaction. So put it here. Just gonna push it down. I use sandpaper later to kind of smooth it out. Just kind of cover the overall area. Right there. Patching it up nicely. And I'm not too worried about being too much. I'll use sandpaper to kind of smooth that out. Same thing for the other side here. Just patching up the messed up area here. Don't want to put too much because I don't want to put too much work into having to clean it up. There it goes. I'm not worried about being too perfect about the patch up because, as I said before, the sanding will take care of a lot of any inconsistencies, any kind of unevenness. And this, I feel the stuff getting warm, so it's getting close to being starting to harden. There it goes. Trying to put some on the chin and lower face real quick. Better put this back on actually. Now that I think about it. Oh, I think I just got a little bit of it there, so I'm gonna. It's basically traditional sculpting and patching this piece up, just 3D prints in general. Fixing that right there. Oh, it's starting to toughen. I guess I'll take the rest of this material here and just put it on this here because it's easy patch right here. Right there. A bit here. I don't want to waste it. I hate wasting this material. It's